Good evening and welcome to November 18th, Common Council, City of Connersville. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Tommy Williams, Jr.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd like to remain standing for invocation, Pastor.
I'd like to share with you a story that I just heard recently. A man was walking down the sidewalk and he came upon a boy and a dog. And he asked the boy, he said, "Son, does your dog bite?" The boy says, "No, sir." So he reached down to pet the dog and it snapped at him. And he looked at that boy and he says, "I thought you said your dog didn't bite." He said, "That's not my dog." 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18 tells us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for America, our nation, for employment and rest, for one another and for our homes. I thank you for the leadership of our mayor and city council, and for the spirit of justice that fills this room. I thank you for the countless blessings you have bestowed upon us, both in times of joy and in times of challenge. I'm grateful for the love of family and friends who surround us, for the food on our table, and for the shelter over our heads. And now as we enter this holiday season, I thank you for the things that have been accomplished this year in our city. I ask that you overshadow our city leaders and city employees with an energized hope as they prepare for the challenge of a new year. Protect them and their families as they are involved in city business. And I thank you most of all for your presence in our lives, for your grace, and for the gift of salvation through your Son, Jesus Christ. In his name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening and remind you to please turn your cell phone ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilwoman McQueen. Present. Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips. Present. Councilman Robb.
Okay, does anyone have the minutes from the November 4th, 2024 meeting? Are there any additions and corrections to those? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I'm going to start with this. Adam, can you hear us okay? I know you said you're having some technical issues. We don't hear Adam, John.
Try again.
Yeah, talk Adam. Nope.
I can't tell if it's on this end or his.
I don't hear Jimmy either.
I'm working on it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start while you're working on that. We have Resolution 2024-64 and 2024-65 transfers. Rosemary?
Resolution 2024-64 is a resolution to transfer $629,362.50 from the utilities investment into Connersville Utilities. Resolution 2024-65 is a resolution to transfer $175,000 from utility investments into Connersville Utilities.
It's 529, you said 629.
I'm sorry, the first one is $529,362.50.
Any questions for Rosemary? Not entertaining a motion to approve Resolution 2024-64 and 65.
So moved.
I have a motion, is there a second? I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Going on to item C, we can do C and D together.
Yes.
We have Ordinance 7027 and 7028. Gives us the ability to accept credit cards anywhere, is that correct?
Yes, we have that, but it's just making sure we're updating it to include all the departments that are using credit cards and receiving credit card payments.
If I remember right, really the only place that took credit cards was utilities at the parks, I think the parks. Now we're gonna be able to accept credit cards at transfer station and everywhere else, so. I have a motion to, I'm sorry, before I do that, any questions on pending ordinance 7027 and 7028? If not, entertain a motion to approve ordinance 7027 and 7028 on first reading.
Second.
And a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
A motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion for third and final reading.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And moving on to item E, we have ordinance 7029, pending ordinance 3969, transfer, Rosemary.
This is a transfer within the fire department, moving $900 from medical exams to the department heads.
Any questions? If not, entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 7029 on first reading.
Motion. Second.
And a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion for third and final reading.
Motion.
Second.
And a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Did we get that fixed, John?
Maybe.
Jimmy, can you try to talk, Jimmy? Nope. Okay, well, we might have to type chat if we need an answer. We have three resolutions. We have resolution 2024-66, 67, 68. Jeff, we need to do these separate, or does it matter on these?
Do we need what?
Do all these separate?
I would just do them separate, just for clarity.
We'll do them separate. So the first one is the taxpayer resolution, and you want to explain that, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is just saying we have the requisite 50 taxpayers that have signed up, that essentially effectively said, hey, we agree with this. Yeah, that's one requirement you have to have. There's a lot of requirements we have to have, but this is one of them.
And we do have those signatures done, but they're at the county being verified, make sure they are all property owners. We got way more than 50 just to be safe, so
Very good.
that is taken care of. Anyone have any questions on that? Jimmy, just nod your head. Is that everything said correctly there?
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
there we go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah, so it was a little muffled, so I can just give you a quick overview of what you have in front of you holistically. So one resolution is a resolution that approves the receipt of the taxpayer resolution. We need to have at least 50 signatures, and I think that you got up to 70. And so you will receive those tonight, and the county is also going to verify that we have at least 50. You have another resolution that will authorize execution of the lease. And I don't know if I heard or not, but one of the items we're going to have is a public hearing if we haven't done that yet. So forgive me if I missed that part with the sound problems.
And the third item is additional appropriation.
And then, yeah, that's also a joint that's a joint hearing with the appropriation also. So there's a resolution that approves the financing and the execution of the lease, and then there's a resolution that will appropriate the proceeds of the bonds so that you can use them towards your various projects.
And we can pass the taxpayers petition resolution without public hearing, correct? But before we get to the other two, you need to open the public hearing. We've advertised for it today, so just open it for public comment.
Yeah, that line of approvals works.
Okay. So the first taxpayer resolution is not a public hearing, it's just saying we have the signatures, but they're being verified. So I just need a motion. First of all, is there any questions about that? If there's no questions, I'd like to hear approval of resolution 2024-66, the taxpayers resolution.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Then we have resolution 2024-67. It's approving the building corporation.
This is one where you need to open the
This
public
is
hearing.
on, we need to do two separate, I'll just use two separate ones, make it simple. I don't want to confuse it. So I will, sorry. I will open the public hearing on resolution 2024-67 for the approving the building corporation. Anyone have a public anything to say? Can't see outside. Okay. If not, I will close the public hearing and open up for council questions. If there's no questions, I'd like to motion to approve Resolution 2024-67, approving the building corporation.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, Resolution 2024-68, it's the additional appropriation. Jimmy, you want to explain that one? You can hear me?
So you need to have an appropriation for all of your expenditures in any given year. And usually there's a general approval of your budget. You probably are going through that now if you haven't just got through that process for 2025. But in 2024, we didn't have this set of projects in your approved expenditures. So now you're gonna have proceeds available this year that haven't otherwise been appropriated. So it's more or less an accounting feature so that you can appropriate the funds to be used for those projects going forward.
Okay, thank you, sir. I will open up the public hearing on Resolution 2024-68. Does anyone from the public have anything they want to say? You act like you want to give a speech over here. No? Okay. If not, I will close the public hearing and open up for council questions. No council has any questions. I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-68, additional appropriation.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Move on down to department reports. Mr. Wilson.
Good evening. You should have the reports in front of you. Does anybody have any questions over any three of these with the utilities, street department, or the transfer station? Transfer station did take in, I mentioned earlier today, the Board of Works, $30,000 this past month. That's about a $7,000 to $9,000 uptake from what typically is the average. Just kind of tells me that we've had a lot of building and other things going on through town, so that's always a good sign. If nobody has any questions over those reports, I'm going to move on down to the water improvement project. I did email out a couple copies to your email for you to review. This project's pretty extensive. Go over it. Any questions you may have. Commonwealth's going to be here at the next city council meeting and board meeting to answer any questions. So with this project, I spoke on it briefly at the Board of Works, and it kind of helped me out for tonight, so you guys will get a better scope of it than the board did this morning or this evening. There's three projects. One's the utility improvements for the water, the infrastructure. So changing the mains, service lines that go to the main for the customers. And that'll happen on 8th Street from Sycamore to Beach in Houston, Arians, and Houston, Arians, in this packet somewhere. Well, at least I thought it was. Anyhow, this project is going to replace old existing mains, and in the process, there's going to be lead service lines that are state required. We'll get a $5 million grant for that, $2.5 million on the first project. That will be, grant, and then the second part of that $2.5 million will be for, I think it's a zero interest 20-year loan. And this morning I said it's 35, it's a 20-year loan. That could possibly be up for the second project as well for a total of $10 million in grants for the lead service line inventory. That's something that we have to do from the state, and there's money out there for that, which is great. There's no way around it. Anytime you start doing these new projects now, if there's even a hint of lead around the area, all that has to be done. The further design of this will include new VFD pumps for the golf club substation. It'll help the water pressure at the high school. There's also a part of this work scope that will be for water out to the St. Jude area. Any of you that are familiar with that project, it's kind of been talked about before, but essentially it's around $5.3 million for 18 to 20 houses. So if it's something that the county and city can discuss to possibly get some funds appropriated from the county to help offset utility costs on the whole project, then we would definitely look at, going forward with doing that part of the project. If we can't, then we might look at taking that off the whole scope of work. So to bring the amount of the project down $5.3 million. There's improvements to the waste or the water treatment plant in that package as well. On Park Road, there'll be areas. So areas from Jackson and 8th Street from Sycamore to Beach, that's the other one. There's going to be new pumps and VFDs at the Country Club booster station, new dedicated fire line to the high school, and Elephant Hill ground storage tank and booster station. So this project would essentially start off from ground 2025 and maybe beginning 2026 and last till 2028, 29. So it's a rather large project. I think the total of the project is around $17 million. With funds coming from OCRA, SRF, and IFA. So this next meeting, I will probably be requesting to get permission to sign off on the preliminary engineering report from Commonwealth so that we can get moving on this timeline. It's pretty stringent with the state, as you guys know. I mean, when the timeline comes down, there's, all the chips got to fall into place, or you get behind a year, there's another 18 months that you're off schedule. So just please review the packets, and any questions, the next council meeting will be where you guys can get those answered from Commonwealth. If you have any questions in between that time that I can answer, feel free to ask me and I'll let you know as much as I can. Any questions for me today? It's kind of a lot, it's kind of sporadic, but it's a big project. But there's grant money out there for it. So it's not like we gotta eat the whole cost over at the utility side, so. Anything else? Anything to add? Nope.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Director Pawsey.
Apologize for the audio problem there earlier. I did the equivalent of software turn it off, back on again. I don't know. For the month of October, we had 7 hours, 33 minutes of meeting production, 11 hours, 18 minutes of original production. 7,702 views on YouTube with a total of just over 1,000 hours of watch time. The top content was Spartan Football School Board October 8th and City Council October 7th. And then for the month on Facebook, TV3 had a reach of 1,569. City of Connersville's page, 15,549. So, excellent reach there on the City of Connersville page. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chairman.
Chief Hardin.
I'd like to have a copy of my October 2024 report. Excuse me. We had a total of 324 calls for service. Those we've had in a little while, but like I said earlier, this ebbs and flows. I mean, you can go 1 month and be the absolute lowest, and then the next month you're setting a record high. So it's just, you just never know. But that does bring our total calls as of the end of October to 3,395. See our fuel usage there with the fuel tax rebate. Someone had asked me after the other meeting last month about that. Excuse me. There's certain avenues, certain equipment, certain departments that can apply for this. I think there are several of us doing it. I just kind of throw it on here. Because an ambulance is considered a public conveyance, we don't have to pay, we can file for a refund on our excise tax on our fuel. So that's essentially what it is. It's a formula based on number of gallons, so forth and so on. So through the month we did a touch truck demo, a morning and afternoon session for Little Spartans. We did 3 trunk or treat events. I Actually had an opportunity to do one or two more, just the timing and the logistics did not work out. And we participated in an EMA exercise. Carter Police were also there, Bentonville, Glenwood, on a missing person at Man Love Park. It was a training exercise for how we would go about searching for someone in a rural area. Very heavily wooded, a lot of undergrowth. We were out there for most of the morning, and the drone team was out, had ground crews. It was very, very interesting to see. Also got to use the new EMA command trailer, so that was kind of its debut to see how that's going to work with us. And, so it was very, very informative. I think it was very, very educational for everybody who took part. So, see if I have any questions.
Thank you.
Superintendent Steele, sorry. Didn't get on my throat.
Good evening.
So I have some great news. Longwood Bridge is completed. So we finished that up a couple weeks ago, and it looks great. There's been lots of people stopping, taking a look at it, and coming in and letting us know that it looks great. So we're really excited about that. And then some other great news is J. Long Memorial 2nd Street Park is almost finished. The turf, the mulch has been placed. And then over the weekend, the parking lot was finished. So we're coming along nicely. We're working on the sign being completed for that park, and Chase McCombs is doing that sign for us, and will be donating that sign to us. So we're really excited about that. That's huge for us. So at the park. So we're excited for it to be completed, and once we have all of those finalizations done, we will be scheduling a grand opening for that park. Registration right now is currently open for men's adult league basketball and church league basketball. So if anybody knows anyone that wants to sign up, have them contact the Parks Department. We had our first responders trunk or treat, and it went fantastic. I do want to give a big thanks to all of the first responders that came out, and everyone else. Rosemary in her office was there as well, so we're very thankful that they all participated. So we had over 50 vehicles passing out candy, which had about a total of 100 people that passed out candy, and then we had 2,161 participants walk through trunk or treat that evening. So it was a great turnout. It was a beautiful evening as well. The weather was really nice. And then we did two new things this year. We had a People's Choice Award for Best Decorated Vehicle. And then we also had a costume contest, and the first responders were the judges of our costume contest. So it went over really well, and everyone seemed to have a really good evening. Registrations are open still for Christmas in the Park and light displays. There will be people starting to set up their light displays at the end of this week. And so there's still there's plenty of space left at the park. So if anybody wants to set up a light display, just contact us. We have about 20 people currently signed up. And our arches went up today, and they're turned on. They look really cool. So we're really excited about that. We're getting all of our lights put up as well this week. So we're working on that. And then just a couple dates that are coming up. The People's Choice Award voting for the best display will run December 1st through December 5th, and it will end December 5th by 4 p.m. And then December 5th is our Christmas in the Park community event at the Miller Building, and that is where we will award the People's Choice Award for the evening. We will have Mr. and Mrs. Claus there, and carriage rides and fun activities for the kids and families. Does anybody have any questions? Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Are you leaving for this evening?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, I want to ask you a question or two.
Okay.
Chief Jones.
Good evening. monthly report for the Connersville Fire Department for October. Start out with the overtime. Overtime's still up a little bit. Total was $10,336.33. The manpower shortage portion of that was $8,151.40, and then the scheduled overtime was $2,184.93. I explained to the Board of Works, our most recent hire did pass his certifications now, and all we have left to do is get him into a live burn, and then he's good to go to fight fire, so we'll be counting him towards our minimum manning, which should help reduce our overtime. So, moving on down to our fuel usage. We use 488 gallons of fuel for the month, for a total of $1,796.49. We had 167 total incidents for the month. 32 of those were fire-related incidents, 124 EMS-related, and we had 11 auto accidents. Next, we have our training hours. We had 59 total instructed hours of training. 52 hours of those were fire-related training, 7 were EMS-related training. Also, in the rest of your packet that has all of the other information pertaining to training and inspections, you'll notice that the training report looks different, actually looks better. I found out that they're in the middle of upgrading our software to a lot better reporting. The previous reporting was very difficult, and basically I exported all the information to a spreadsheet, and that's how you were normally seeing it every time. So we're beginning to learn how to use the new reporting system, so all of it will look a little bit different and look better. So, moving down to inspections, we had 13 total inspections for the month and a total of 6 hours of fire investigation. And then the only other thing I had to add is we had 4 individuals that did make it through our agility and written tests. I believe we had 13 try out. We have 4 left. We hired 1 today, and we're going to interview the other 3 Wednesday evening, I believe. That's a good possibility of hiring 2 or 3 of them by spring. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Bolos.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, to start out, just to keep everybody up to date, earlier, the Board of Works, I asked permission to hire 2 new officers, Caleb Dare and Paige Dunaway, and they approved their hiring, so they're our newest officers. They both need to go through ILEA, so we hired them this month in hopes that we could get them through starting January. Unfortunately, we're at the mercy of PERF, and they're not gonna even get into PERF until the middle of December, which when they get cleared, we get on January. So we missed that. We're hoping to get them into the April class. All right, starting on our monthly for the month of October, you can see, well, everyone knows that we're down 3 officers, so our overtime is still up. Our fuel usage was 1,737 gallons. Any questions on the October monthly report? All right, on to our incident report. Our accidents are up slightly. We had 46 accidents last month. Our traffic violations are at 133. We have a total of 693 calls last month. Any questions on those? Any of the incidents? All right, as far as department goes, our department had 142 hours of training. 20 hours of that was firearms training. You can recall about a few months back, we obtained 25 patrol rifles, and before we issued them out, everybody had to qualify every single of those. That was included 20 hours of that. Our K-9 division had 24 hours of training. 8 of those was their annual recert. They also did 2 demos. Our detective division, our drug task force, had a total of 12 arrests, and they currently have 3 active cases open. Our criminal detectives, they took in 29 cases. They closed 21 with 7 felony arrests. Our drug intake last month was marijuana, we had 32 grams, heroin, fentanyl, 25 grams, meth, 7 grams, cocaine, 4 grams, miscellaneous pills, we had 8, needles pickup were 10, and various items of paraphernalia, we had 21. Any questions? That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wolf.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ordinance office report for October. For the month of October, conducted 88 ordinance violations. One of those was related to obstructing visibility, one for trees and shrubs, one accessory usage of a property due to a summer-long rummage or garage sale that had extended from the front yard all the way out to the sidewalk and was approaching the street, and we had to get them to pull that back. One accessibility, one dense smoke, one sealing of a vacant building, one handicap parking request, 2 obstruction of streets. I had 2 area planning issues came to me that I wasn't really sure how to address, so I sent those through to area planning through their online complaint forms. One was about living in a camper, and another one was about 2 30-foot shipping containers being dropped on the property with a permanent roof being built between the 2. So I wasn't really sure where that stood with the building codes. So I passed that along to area planning. 2 information requests, 2 dilapidated buildings, 3 machineries not connected with the operation of a home, 11 due to parking positions, mainly people parking up on sidewalks and blocking those from pedestrians, 11 due to grass or weeds, 11 indoor furniture outside the home, 17 trash and rubbish, and 20 expired plates or junk vehicles that had to be removed. Any questions?
Let's talk about this building down here while you're here. We've been dealing with it's a dangerous building. We've been dealing with it for over a year, well, longer than that, but since you've been here, we've been dealing with it. We were dealing with it before. And a lot of people think you just issue a fine and people pay the fine or fix it and go on, and that is not usually the case. I shouldn't say that, most of the time it is, but you always get a few that fight the system. We finally took it to court, and here's where our options. Our options were they fix it, which is not going to happen, or they're going to, I'm trying to be kind when I say this, dump the building on us, which is basically what just happened. So now, this is my struggle is we're responsible for someone else's irresponsibility, which drives me insane. But now the taxpayers are on the hook because someone didn't take care of their building. It's not going to be a cheap, it's going to be a demo. There's no way to fix this building. Mm-hmm. So we just got it condemned tonight, sealed up tonight. It is sealed, condemned. We got to figure out a plan to pay for tearing this thing down because it's attached to another building. It's going to cause damage. It is not going to be cheap. So we've got to figure this out. But that just happened today, actually this evening, so.
It happened a little shortly right at 4 o'clock, and then I went down, secured the building, put all the notices up, padlocked the front doors, the back doors, the gates, and tomorrow begin to clean up out back and around the property. And with the floor collapsed, the roof collapsed, there's really no way to save the structure at this point.
No, it's too far gone. So it's been a very long process, and we know the process took forever, and also more damage occurred going through the process. We know that, but not an easy process. But now we're on the hook, and we will take care of it. Just let council know we're working on a plan for that. I don't have one yet. I'm close, but I don't have one yet. So just know that's coming up in the future here very quickly. I got to figure this out because it is a dangerous building, and now we'll be liable if something happens, and I'm not doing that. So Don't have answers, but while you're here, because it's been a long process, so. But I thank you for all your hard work on it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely, it wasn't easy to navigate, but I think we've got the process figured out. And as we've discussed, there's some other options if we can incorporate those at the beginning of next year that may alleviate some of the burden that lays on the city when these buildings are in that kind of shape. Which I've been reviewing and passing it along to the mayor for him to review to see if it's something that we can potentially adopt in the future.
Jeff and I have been through several meetings on this very topic throughout the state, and there's really not much of an answer, to be honest. It's, everyone just tries to figure it out on their own. So what Randy's been doing is talking to some other communities that have a program in place, or they're building a program, trying to figure out the best way to do it, how they're managing it. So we're trying to pull all these pieces together. So we have the dilapidated building law, we have to create an ordinance for it, but we want to make sure we build it correctly. So it's going to take some time, but this is a good path going forward. It's still not a fix for the cost. Could help alleviate some of the costs potentially. We don't know the answer to that yet, but dealing with these buildings is very expensive, especially when they're downtown attached to another building, and they're big buildings, so not easy.
Extremely difficult.
Yep. So thank you for your hard work, though.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay, does anyone have any old business? Miscellaneous business? I have a couple. I have an appointment to the Main Street, Discover Connersville here, sorry. Main Street everywhere else. And that's Tammy Barrett-Wolcott. She's going to be the executive director to the program. We're excited to have her in place, and we're looking forward to this. Second thing I want to do is give an update on Market Street Plaza, because a lot of people have seen the building go up rather quickly, which is good. So the building itself is almost done. They're working on the bathrooms and wiring on the inside, so it's going to take a little bit longer. You won't be seeing any concrete work till next spring, though, so just know that. It's going to be a long winter, because we could pour the concrete now. I got the temperature, but I want 30 days of cure time before it freezes, and I don't think that's gonna happen. Nope. So it's not worth the risk of pouring a couple $100,000 worth of concrete and getting it cracked, so.
Yeah.
We'll be working on the wiring all winter, getting the stage ready, so the only thing we have to do is pour the concrete and then set the fixtures, and it should be good to go. So you may not see much activity going on during the day. A lot of it's gonna be in the evenings and weekends, but then the concrete will be done next spring. So I've already talked to the contractor. Paul Martin's doing the concrete work. He's fine with waiting till spring. He's actually picked up some good jobs here in town, so it works out good for him. So he'll be here first thing in the spring. I told him I want 30 days before the first celebration of the Ville, so we got good cure time on this. So he knows that it'll be first on the schedule. So just know that if you see not much happening, stuff's happening, it'll just be on the inside. You won't be able to see it. Anybody else have any miscellaneous? Public, anyone from the public have anything to say? Sure. If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.